live.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
You're always a little slow.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So what we're going to do, like we normally do on this very, 9 o'clock-ish start, we'll talk about the quick market update, what's happening here as far as the world of real estate goes, with interest rates, and how homes are moving. And then usually have a topic of the day. We always have a topic of the day, really.
That's right.
But sometimes the topic of the day turns into a live interview.
Yes.
We call them the industry insider.
Yeah.
Because we want to know everything there is to know about that particular subject.
That's right.
And so you usually go to an expert to fill us in. That way we all learn together and ask all the good pertinent questions.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So
So
are you good? Are you ready? So here's a little sneak peek of who we're talking to today.
And
Solar
our
power.
shirts.
Yep. So we're on the solar train here today. So
Yes, we are.
I'm excited because the first time I thought about solar power and solar panels and everything, I thought, man, one hailstorm in Oklahoma, those things are trash, and this thing's a lost cause. So that was my first question when I went down this path, and I was pleasantly surprised with the answer. So
That's right.
hang on just for a second, we'll get into that.
Yeah. How's your coffee?
It's good, but it's starting to get cold because these mugs, they don't last too long. So I gotta drink faster. Okay, so real quick, look outside, and all right. So the market update for today,
Right.
6.7,
5.7.
for a 30-year. So I think the other day it was a little lower than that. At some point, we were dipping into the five somethings with
last weekend.
with certain privileges on that deal.
That's correct.
But the interest rates have kind of been bouncing around this same area for a
Yeah.
while. So at least they're consistent in being inconsistent.
FHA is 6.02.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're still coming down.
Oh yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit. So
for
they
sure.
They closed on a good note.
Yeah, they're down from almost a full percentage from where they were just a few weeks ago.
That's right.
As far as home sales, how they're looking?
Well, home sales. Whoa, for the week for Oklahoma County, is that what we're looking
Yeah,
at? Again?
7 days in Oklahoma County.
217 brand new listings on market. That's pretty good. 174 sold listings, so closed contracts, and 287 pending sold.
You got to tell them what is pending.
Pending is where there's a contract written on a potential house.
So the only thing that could cause that to fall through is financing on the behalf of the buyer doesn't quite come through. Maybe there's an inspection.
Yeah, the home inspection. They just couldn't come to terms on whatever was found. So,
Yep.
Wow, that's really good. There's lots of movement in the week. Love it.
Yeah. So let's see. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be our topic of the day.
Yes, it's a good one.
We are excited about that. I got a little intro video if this will play.
Yeah.
So let's get this thing going. This kind of pique your interest as far as what we got going on. So I'm excited about it. So this is the company of solar power we're going to be talking with today. And we're in their big warehouse
Yes.
and checking it out. And they've got tax credits, how long they last, what they look like,
Yeah.
how they're made, what does it entail for the home to put on your
Right.
roof. So we're pumped just to learn more here this morning with you. And then I was surprised at the clean install too.
Yes.
For the garage
Yeah.
on how you can do these things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're about to find out if solar power is right for you.
Yes.
We're definitely going to get into that.
Well, I find now as I'm driving around, I'm looking
Yeah.
at roofs.
I know. I'm starting to pay more attention.
Yeah.
It's funny how a lot of times you don't pay attention to something until you're interested into it or you get one. Like if you buy the car, you see the same car where you go once you
Yeah.
buy it. So, all right, we'll tell you what, let's jump on into it. So
Yes.
we're going to bring in our expert of the day. So that's Dalton Jones from Solar Power. Good morning, Dalton.
Hey guys, how are you? Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You bet, of course.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining
Thanks
us
for being here.
and being brave.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to answer some big questions.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready.
All right, so Just start us out with first off, who are you guys? So who is Solar Power of Oklahoma?
Yeah, for sure. So we are the oldest Oklahoma-based solar company, based out of Edmond, Oklahoma. We've actually done about two-thirds of all installs in the state. We're a family-owned business, so my dad, Kevin Jones, is actually one of our owners alongside J.W. Peters. And between the two of them, they have about 55 years combined experience in commercial and residential construction. So JW, in fact, he worked on the Gallagher Iba Arena. He put the dome on the Capitol. So, needless to say, we feel pretty good about our workmanship.
I did not know that.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All
That's
right.
interesting.
You got to brush your shoulders off after that.
That's
that one.
right.
All right. So, for those that are new to this whole industry, this term,
Yeah,
like, how does it work? How does solar power actually work?
right.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in the simplest terms, really, what you're doing is you're farming energy from the sun, and then you're feeding energy to your house, and then everything in excess of what your house needs will actually go to the grid and or to a battery. So any of that energy that you feed to the grid will actually be credited to you by the utility. So at the end of the month, if your system's produced more than your house used, you will actually have no energy bill for that month, and you'll have a credit that rolls over to next month or the month after until you need it.
Wow.
I liking that idea.
I like that. That's pretty
Let's
good.
bank up some credits.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the misconceptions that a lot of folks have about solar, things they've heard on, TikTok or wherever else, is that you get a big system and the utility's just cutting you checks, and that's not necessarily how it works. You can bank credits though that roll over from month to month for when you need them on that energy bill.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had
Makes
talked
sense.
before we met you guys about that situation, and you said there was some legislation being kicked around to maybe where that does change here in Oklahoma in the future.
Right.
So there are a couple pieces of legislation. As far as getting checks from the utility, I don't think that's in play right now, but we have a bill that's going through the Oklahoma Senate right now that would prohibit homeowners associations from rejecting or denying people their access to solar. So that's one that's being kicked around right now. And then
Okay.
there's also, there's also a bill that would potentially let folks have a choice in who the utility is, the same way they do in Texas now. So
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Really good. Yeah. So, what are some of the benefits of going solar?
well, there are a few benefits. So the one that everybody really loves is that going solar can actually save homeowners a substantial amount of money. So that's the big one. And then on top of that, you have the option to have energy independence as well. So no need to rely on a utility or a strained grid, especially when that severe weather rolls through and the power goes out. A lot of our customers are able to still continue functioning as normal. And then,
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
got to
on
be
top of that,
tapped into it. Yeah, so if the power does go out, you're still rocking and rolling.
right? Yeah, so that'll depend. A lot of our customers actually don't have batteries, and so what they're trying to do, their main goal is to just save as much money as possible by avoiding their electric bill. But our customers who do have batteries, what they're doing actually is they're actually storing energy in their batteries from their solar, and so when the power goes out, their house is gonna start drawing from those batteries. And so the entire time that solar is actually continuing to top off those batteries and recharge them. So those folks
Okay.
with batteries paired with their solar systems will continue to operate just as normal, when the power goes down.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's good because I know yesterday with those high winds, we had some power surges.
Oh yeah, we had a few power surges. There was people without power, and there's some other issues that happen when Oklahoma weather.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the big benefits.
So, how does solar save people money?
Okay, great question. So the deal is when you go solar, you're meeting your own energy needs after you get solar, right?
Okay.
So if you size your system big enough, that means no more electric bill for you. So to put some numbers on it, if you have a $200 electric bill, Well, we know the utilities raise their rates every year by about 3.4%. So right now that bill's about $200. We know that in about 30 years, that bill is going to be closer to $500. So what that means is over 30 years, if you have a $200 bill today, you're going to pay the electric company about $120,000. So instead, you could spend 20 or $30,000 on a solar system, avoid those rate increases entirely, and now you've saved 90, $100,000 over those 30 years by essentially doing nothing. That
Right.
money that you could put towards your kids' college funds, pay off the house, buy like a dozen eggs, or whatever
Like
whatever you're into.
Right.
those
Absolutely.
eggs are raising higher than utility rates these days.
Oh my
Right.
gosh, right?
So, but what if? Okay, so let's say you do want to get started in that process. We've got in the green energy landscape, the government's just throwing bukus of money at it, pretty much in any sector that's doing some type of renewable project. So, are there tax incentives for doing this?
Yeah, believe it or not, there are. We're all used to giving the government our money. They're actually going to give a little bit back in this case. So there's a substantial tax credit residentially right now. So it's a 30% federal tax credit, and that goes towards the entire project cost. So that includes batteries. That even includes structures built specifically to house solar. So if you build a carport or a pergola to place your solar on, you'll actually get 30% off of that project as well. So that's
Oh,
that's residentially, and then commercially, you have that 30%, that same 30% tax credit, but you also have these other adders where you can get up to 70% commercially, and then on top of that, you're able to depreciate that asset,
right.
the fully depreciated over 5 or 6 years. So, and that all just kind of went into effect in January. So.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I didn't
Wow.
realize that. I thought maybe like 10%, or
Right.
something. Five
30%.
5%, couple $1,000 at most.
Right.
So that's good. Okay, so I kind of
Right.
started this whole process. My biggest rejection factor for solar was, look, I know about the Oklahoma weather. I know
Right.
it can be nasty. So I think my first question to you when we met was, all right, how do they hold up with a hailstorm?
Right.
So let's hear it. How do they hold up?
Man, that's believe it or not, that's the question that gets asked more than anything. So our little fun fact is that we've installed over 120,000 panels over 7 years, and we have not lost one single solitary panel to hail.
That's
Now
great.
that won't always be the case. That's sometime a big hailstorm going to roll through and we might lose a few, but it's just to demonstrate that's not nearly as big of an issue as folks tend to think it is.
Yeah, that I would have
Um,
thought that was the first issue. So that's great
Right.
to hear. What happens though?
yeah.
Let's assume they get it's the historic grapefruit size hail. They're 4 inches in diameter, and they'll punch a hole through your ceiling. So we know they're going to do some damage. Let's say you get hit by a few of those, and it does somehow manage
Right.
to crack or chip a panel. How does that process work?
Yeah, for sure. So that would actually be any physical damage that occurs to your panels will be covered under your homeowner's insurance. Yep. So you'll just want to
Okay.
check with your policy provider and make sure that that system's reflected on your homeowner's insurance. A lot of
Okay.
times it doesn't affect your premium at all. Sometimes it does, up to $10 or $14 a month. So that's just something I would encourage homeowners to check on for sure.
That's right, because we had talked about
Right.
that, and I was expecting having to pay a bigger premium for this to get covered. And you
Right.
were saying a lot of cases, it's included, and I guess that makes sense because for ours for the home for the policy that we have, the company they do a flat out blanket coverage. I think it was like $5 million or something,
I think
or
so.
$1 million. It was something
Yeah.
like that. I was like, whoa. Of course, our home's not worth that, but the
Right.
point being is they just cover anything and everything and just not even
That's
worry
right.
about it. So it's good to know that that's included.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times that existing dwelling coverage is more than enough to incorporate a solar system into that and be covered without increasing that premium.
Okay. Okay. So now we've had a big storm, and now I need my roof replaced, and I've got solar panels on there. What happens?
Yeah, so we see that all the time. people getting their roofs replaced
Mm-hmm.
after they've gotten solar because of hail damage or whatever it may be.
Right.
So the takedown and replacement of the panels is covered by homeowners insurance. So we do about 75 to 100 of these every year. And
Okay.
every time we've ever done it, it was covered under the same deductible as the roof replacement. So none of our
Okay.
customers who have had a takedown and replacement have had to pay anything out of
Oh,
pocket.
that's good.
Okay, so what you guys work with the current roofing company then
Right.
to help that process?
Yeah, we'll often coordinate on timelines with the roofing companies to get out there, take it down ahead of time. We'll store it, and then the roofers will do their thing, and then we'll come back out and put the systems back up. And so
Okay.
Okay.
when someone's getting a quote from the roofer to give to their insurance, they'll do the same with us. They'll just get a quote from us for that takedown and replacement and give that to their insurance as well.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So it's pretty seamless.
Yeah, and so just to
Mm-hmm.
be clear, the roofers don't touch the solar panels. They go, I don't know what this is. I'm not touching it.
Right.
You guys come out and handle this, right?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. We'll take care of all of that. So no, roofers won't need to worry about that. That'll be on us.
Okay.
So
That's good.
okay, so we've discussed how you get the tax credits, how it saves you energy. We get how it holds up to the Oklahoma weather. And
Right.
if there was a case where something were to happen, insurance comes in. All that seamless interaction with the roofers. So you've got these solar panels on there. Everything's going great. And then you decide for whatever reason you expand or maybe some life happens and you have to move.
Right.
And you've got to resell your home. So that's the next question is, does it cause a negative resale value or is it a positive resale value?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and that's something I'm hoping to, partner with you guys on in the
Yes.
future and collect some data from around the state. But I can talk about some of the data we do have now. So there's a great study from a few years back. It's titled "Selling into the Sun." So they looked at about 23,000 homes across 8 states all over the U.S. And they found that solar does, in fact, put a premium on the home. So you will see a value increase as a result of solar. And so what that kind of looks like is that they found that the value was somewhere between $2 and $4 a watt, depending on the region, or what part of the country they're in. So that would equate to $20,000 to $40,000 in home value increase for our average system size. So
Wow.
all that said, transparently, solar is still, very new in Oklahoma, so we don't know exactly what that premium looks like yet in our state.
Right.
But we do expect that, as that data continues to come in, we'll find that buyers are, willing to pay a little bit more for a house that comes with no electric bill. And I think that's probably common sense.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, if
Absolutely.
I'm selling my house, I go, hey, guess what? You don't have to pay $1 on your electric bill. I'm going, what? How big is that house?
That's
And
right.
how many miles are going to be in there?
Well, I mean, I showed a house not long ago and it had solar all over the roof. And they also provided, the listing agent also gave me the electric bill.
Yeah,
And it was amazing, the savings. So, yeah, you're paying a little bit on the top for the home, but in the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
why not?
I don't ever see you losing money on
No,
that deal. I mean, if
no.
somebody come up to me and says, well, you have the same house, same everything, side by
Right.
side, and one's got solar on it and one doesn't, and I'm like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, I can
Right.
save $200 a month or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, sign me up.
So, one
Right.
question that was posed to me while I was showing the home with solar, I was looking for the battery in the garage or somewhere around the house, and there was no battery present. So, you had mentioned that you don't necessarily need to have a battery. It's good for backup. But those batteries only last
About 10 years, I
about
think it
10
was.
years, I think, correct?
Yeah, so tell us, go into the option, because go into the option, what happens if you don't have the battery?
Right.
Go into the option if you do have the battery, and what does that install look
Right.
like? Because you showed us a pretty slick one, all fit,
Yes.
form, function, off the shelf. I mean, it looked great.
The Tesla one?
Yeah, it was the Tesla one. So kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, all good questions. So I would imagine that houses to our last point, houses with battery backup would also add a little bit of premium because you're getting a house that's immune to power outages. But as far as battery life, yeah, you guys said about 10 years, and so the Tesla Powerwall, it's actually warranted for 10 years, so it's guaranteed for at least 10 years. But then it's also they also say it'll last up to about 7,000 cycles. And so if you do the math on
Okay.
that, if you cycle it about once per day,
Hmm.
that battery should last, and that's quite a lot actually. You wouldn't be cycling it once per day, but that would last you about 19 years. So these batteries
Oh,
actually have a quite a bit
wow.
longer lifespan than we give them credit for.
Okay.
Um, I think back to your other question though, you asked, if you don't have a battery, what happens? If you do have a battery, what happens?
Hmm.
So if you don't have a battery and the power goes out and you don't have a generator backup either, what'll happen is your power will go out as well. And people are often surprised by that. Well, I have solar. Why is my power still going out?
Right.
Um, so technically, your solar system can still function. The issue is your solar system pushes energy onto the grid. And so when linemen are working downstream of you, it becomes a safety hazard. So they'll actually shut you off and shut you down from shut your solar system down. And so
Okay.
um, yeah, just as a matter of precaution. But
So
if
then
you have,
are I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So are they aware then that you have a solar system, or is it something kind of like a storm shelter you report to your local city council or authorities or whatever to kind of register that?
yeah, they'll be aware that you have a solar system. Especially inside city limits, we permit every single one of our jobs, so the city's fully
Okay.
aware of these existing solar systems. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
The,
Sorry.
the
Yes.
utility as well. So we're also we sign no matter where we're at, we're signing interconnection agreements with the utility. So OG&E, PSO, whoever it is, the utility is 100% aware that these residences have solar.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay. So in the
Yeah.
in the end, if you're going to do the solar panels, and again, I guess within your budget, you'd want to have that battery.
Yeah, if you can
I
afford
mean,
it.
if you can afford it, and it's,
Yeah.
you know,
Because you were going to go off the second part of that equation. Let's say you don't have the battery, therefore you don't have power back up the line. So obviously it's just as long as the sun's shining,
right.
it feeds in your system, and then you offset what you would normally need. Correct?
Right. Yeah. So no battery. You're just producing energy. Your main function in that scenario is to avoid the electric bill. Get rid of as much of that electric bill
Yes.
as possible. At the point where you add the battery, for folks who can afford it, you will have that protection against outages. So like we were saying earlier, power goes out, your
Right.
battery automatically kicks on. Lights won't even flicker. You might not even know the power went out. That's how quick it'll
Okay.
happen. And
Wow.
the really cool thing about these batteries, especially the Tesla batteries in the Tesla app, you'll be able to monitor how much, the storage of your battery, how much energy is
Oh,
left in there, how much energy
oh,
your house is using. So it's a lot of really cool things you can do with
that
it.
That's
is
cool.
really
And we
neat.
saw that the battery is the size of, let me see, I think it was like maybe 2.5 feet by 4 feet, something like that, the size of it. I'm trying to go off memory.
I think it was longer.
Yeah, it was a little taller, and
Right.
but it fit. I mean, it was like a,
It's
I don't know,
slick.
it's a pretty neat little package deal. Just
Yeah.
one unit, and that's it. You
Yeah.
mount it, you're done.
That's right.
So I'm going to show.
Yeah.
I'm going to show the video, a couple of videos that you guys had. You can describe if you can see these. First one's going to be up sort of the city of Norman, and what this looks like. And so I'm guessing this is going to be a commercial job.
Yeah, so that's actually a commercial project we did for the city of Norman. And the cool thing about those, you can't really tell from that shot, but those are bifacial panels. So those panels are actually tilted up at a slight angle, and there are solar array or solar cells on both sides of those panels. So they're actually capturing sun from the front and reflections from the back side as well.
Oh, that's
Wow.
right. We had talked about that. How you guys can double dip on the energy side based off of how the roof is structured.
That is so cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. So those commercial projects use a ton of energy. So being able to kind of double dip, like you said, allows us to take more advantage of the space we have up there on the roof.
Okay. And then
Right.
we've got another one, just a typical home installation.
Yeah, so that's one of our residential installs. We like this one. It's a really good looking system. A little bit bigger than average. These people probably use a ton of energy with that pool there in the backyard during the
Right.
summer, but yeah, residential install, pretty sleek, just all black everything.
And then there was one more, and it was this guy here. It was like a farm or something.
Yeah. So that's another commercial entity we installed for. I think it's a hydroponics place out there, hydroponics business. And so we did a roof mount and a ground mount. So that's a pretty good representation of your options. We can install on the roof. We can also do a ground mount if you have a wonky roof or you have the space for it out in the yard. So
Okay.
So as long as you got land and you've got real estate, you've got room for some solar panels.
That's right.
So how many? We discussed this, and of course, this is a hard question to answer. But it was about how many solar panels do you need
Right.
for your home? To get a decent savings.
yeah, so that's dependent entirely upon how much energy that person uses at their house. So if you think about two people, both with 2,000 square foot houses, one has a pool and blasts their AC at 62 degrees all summer, and the other, doesn't have a pool and keeps their AC at a normal temperature. Those people are using two very vastly different amounts of energy,
Right.
and so those people will need two different types of systems. I
Okay.
can tell you our average size system is probably somewhere in the range of 20 to 25 panels.
Okay.
We'd say that's 8 to 10 kilowatts is what that would be in size.
Okay. And then how long is the process for the install?
Yeah, so that'll depend on a few factors. Primarily, is the homeowner inside or outside of city limits?
Okay.
Because the driver of that timeline is permitting with the city. So if that person is inside city limits, we'll have to get permits with the city, and that could take anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how responsive that municipality is.
Okay.
Um, Simultaneously, we're also collecting agreements with the utility company to allow them to hook up to their grid. So
Okay.
And so we actually had, and by the way, we encourage you guys to write questions or leave comments during this live interview, so
Absolutely.
Dalton can answer them. And Tammy had mentioned she's got the Tesla Powerwall, and she said they lost power yesterday, but they only knew it because the Tesla portal informed them.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
there was no power loss in the house; it was seamless.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, so that was a good testimonial. What
Yeah.
happens?
Thanks, Tammy, for that.
yeah, yeah, that's the cool thing. You might not know it until you look outside and see all your neighbors are in the
Right.
dark.
All
Absolutely.
right.
That is really neat.
And then we had another really good question about what is it, and we had discussed this also with you guys with your solar power panels there. You showed us two different types. So one was the standard solar power, and then one was, I think you called it a Tesla shingle. So what's the difference there?
Yeah, so the standard solar panel is what everybody knows and has seen on roofs. It's just that large rectangle that goes and is mounted directly on top of the shingle. The Tesla solar roof, they're actually shingles, and they're made to emulate kind of the high-end slate shingles. So um, some of them are solar producing, and some of them are just faux shingles, and you can kind of parse those out how you need to get the production you need. But
Okay.
it functions as the entire roof, so your roof is essentially generating energy instead of these big solar panels on the surface. So
Oh, okay.
it's really sleek, really cool. It's definitely a luxury, a higher end product, but it's pretty incredible.
And it may be an option until that legislation's passed. If your HOA says, no, we don't want you having solar panels, you
Right.
almost can sneak this in and they wouldn't even know.
Yeah, for sure. I don't advise going that route because a little risky, but you could
Right.
try it. Yeah, no, it looks like a slate roof. It's super sleek. If they have any qualms with that, well, you need to vote them out and get them replaced.
We've actually seen that.
Yeah, we saw you
We
guys
saw
showed
that.
us the panels. They were pretty cool.
That
Just
was really
a
neat.
flat black piece. It looks like it's almost like just
Like
I don't know.
like a slate roof, like
Yeah,
I mentioned.
it's
It was
crazy.
really, and it was good quality, really uh, durable. Like
Yeah.
it's heavy.
Yeah, of course. Tesla's making it, so of course it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to a couple things here.
Right.
there's a couple of solar power companies
Right.
that are out there in Oklahoma. So two
Hmm.
aspects of that. One is, what separates you from the competition, number one. Number two, what happens when the competition is a fly by night and they gave somebody something and they're gone?
Right.
Do you guys come in and save the day? Do you rescue the client? How does that work?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, and I'll say this in humility, hope it doesn't come across as arrogant, but we've installed more solar in this state than every other company combined. So as a result, we feel really confident in our knowledge and our workmanship, and I think our reputation reflects that. And then also because of the volume we do, we actually get really great prices on our equipment that we're able to pass on to the homeowners. So and then also we're a local company, so nearly every one of our employees is a native Oklahoman. So more than anything, we really just care about doing what's right by Oklahomans.
Right.
And that means advising them not to purchase solar because it doesn't make sense for them. Whether that be due to shading issues with nearby trees or they're not eligible for the tax credit. We will absolutely do that, and we do that, all the time just to make sure we take care of our people.
So
Right.
that was
Um,
So,
actually, I remember that now. We discussed that with you. Is
right.
you guys are not in the business to sell you a product that you don't really need or want or even is functional.
Right. Or
You,
too much.
yeah, you guys actually tell them the honest truth, the God honest truth, and doesn't just to make some money, give them something they don't really need or want.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we call our sales team, we call them advisors, because that's the mentality we try to take when we go into the home is we're trying to advise the homeowner on first, does solar make sense for you? Because it doesn't for everybody. It does for the majority, but there are some outliers. So does solar make sense for you? And if so, what's the system that's going to get you the best return on investment? That's going to take care
Right.
of you during an outage, those sorts of things. Um,
And I
Absolutely.
know it's we kind of touched on this, and you did mention return on investment. I know it's going to vary quite a bit. Can you give kind of a range as to because you might have a big system set up, you might have a small system.
Right.
On the return on the investment, is there an approximate number of years involved?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty consistent across system sizes, regardless of how much of your bill you're offsetting. It's pretty consistent. If you pay in cash, that's your best return on investment. We know that in real estate. You pay in cash, you're avoiding interest on loans, and so your payback period is really anywhere from, depending on the system and how it produces, 5 to 10 years. Um, and that system will pay itself off, and then you're in the green after that. And then if you
Okay.
if you finance, depending on the terms of those loans, you're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of 7 to 12 years for that system to pay itself off.
Okay.
Okay. And
So,
then we had mentioned also the concern of shortages. With the whole COVID thing, obviously a lot of parts from everything that we do here in the U.S. Comes from overseas. But you guys actually build your solar panels here in the U.S. and then you're working with the government side of things to where there's always going to be supply. So there's never going to be a shortage
right.
where you're in a handicap position where you can't provide a service or finish a job. Correct.
Right. Yeah. So our owners had the foresight to kind of stockpile solar panels last year. And the reason for that was we saw the solar tax credit going into effect on January 1st, that the one that gave residential homeowners 30% tax credit and commercial entities up to 70%. And so they said, shoot, man, when that goes through, everybody's going to want solar. So we're going to need to stock up a little bit.
Right.
And so we have tons of solar panels. And additionally, the panels that we use are all American made. So our panels come from Atlanta, Georgia. We have another panel we use that's from Washington State. So we never have any issues with supply chain constraints or,
Right.
things getting halted at customs or whatever it may be. It's all sourced here locally.
That's really good.
And then to kind of piggyback off of that, when we talked about how if for whatever reason a panel maybe ended up being damaged or for whatever
Right.
reason wasn't functioning, you guys can still actually recycle those panels because that was my follow up is where do these things go when you're done with
Right.
them? Like for example, in the windmill or wind farm world, they were burying blades in the ground. I mean, we back to burying renewable stuff in the ground, which is a terrible idea.
Right.
And you're like, no, we got that covered too. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So as solar is becoming more popular, we have more and more companies popping up who do their entire job is to recycle these panels, and I
Okay.
think it's 90 to 95% of the materials within the panel are 100% recyclable. So these panels aren't just going to the landfill or getting placed in the dump or getting buried somewhere. They're actually getting reused and renewed,
Right.
so we can build more solar out in here.
Man, that's great.
So I have a question. So I want to get solar panels. Do you offer financing? You guys take care of all the whole process. Looking out for the HOA. Do you pull all the permits and you keep check on all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can finance through us. We have a variety of lenders that we use. They're all
Okay.
solar specific lenders. And the cool thing about that is they allow you to incorporate your tax credit into the payment structure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that allows you to get a really low monthly payment, often beating, what you're paying on your utility bill.
Okay.
Additionally, yeah, after you've signed, we'll take care of all of the permitting, all of the interconnection agreements with the utility, any of that administration work, the homeowner association approval. We'll take care of all of that in house, so
Oh,
the
great.
customer doesn't have to. They basically sign the install agreement, and they just get to sit and wait for their panels to be put on the roof.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's say that that's what they want to do.
Yep.
Said, you know what? After watching this interview, I feel more comfortable checking it out. I'm interested now in solar panel and solar energy,
Right.
and so they want to get a quote. So how does that process work?
Yeah, so they can either call into our office to schedule an appointment, or your viewers can actually just reach out to me directly, and then they'll schedule a time for me to come out to the house or another one of our advisors.
Okay.
And so we'll come out to the property, we'll take a look around, we'll get an idea of what the shading profile looks like with the trees, take a look at the electric meter, and then we'll grab one of their electric bills and we'll sit down. And so this is the cool part. We'll actually model the house in 3D, and then together we'll place the panels on the roof, and build a system that'll offset, just as much of their electric bill as they like to. And so
Okay.
after we've done that, we go over the warranties, pricing, answer any questions they might have. One thing I want to stress that we absolutely do not do is we're not high pressure or salesy. We are simply there to advise and leave the homeowner feeling knowledgeable, enough to make their own decision, because we feel that solar is not really a product that needs to be sold. It's a no-brainer in most cases. So we're
Right.
completely content with just keeping it casual and letting the homeowner do their thing.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Because it's a big investment.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
for
so I'll
sure.
show you our website, for example, for Team Total Realty. If you go there and look
Yep.
at the trusted service providers, you'll see solar energy. And if you see that, there'll be a little video more about them, a little bit about the company, and including
Yeah.
$500 off. So
Nice.
it's not
Yeah.
bad. That's the QR code you can scan. There's also the phone number that you can reach Dalton at. And also, if you just want to take them to their page, you just click on the link for solar power, and that pops up a direct site to where you can just go there and
Yeah.
type in your information, and then Dalton will get this directly, and then he'll give you a call and schedule out an appointment for you to come on out. So very smooth and
Yeah.
easy process.
Yeah. Very easy.
Everybody's to save money. So
Oh,
man, you're winning on this deal. You get the tax credit and you get the $500 off.
that's right.
Let's go for it.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the rising costs of electricity, right?
It's never gonna stop, is it?
Right. You know that firsthand.
Everything goes up. Okay, so
Right.
that's probably my final question is
Right.
where do you guys see the solar energy, solar power industry going forward, either on the residential side or the commercial side, regarding technological advancements and or price, just in general. What do you guys know about it?
Yeah. Oh man, great question. So from the point of technological advancement, the kind of analogy we like to use is that we're on like the iPhone 7 right now. Um, most of the big advancements have already been made. Like we've seen a ton of great advancements in efficiency of panels, for example. What we're starting to see now is those advancements are starting to level off just a little bit. So, um, we're going to move from the iPhone 7 to the iPhone 8. There will be some small improvements made over time, naturally, just how technology advances. But there aren't going to be these great leaps and bounds that we made in the last 10 or 20 years. That's one thing customers are worried about sometimes. Like, what if I buy panels now in 5 years? They're going to be way better.
Yeah.
They might be a little bit better. They might be a little bit bigger, but they're not going to be so much better that it's worth waiting and not building 5 years worth of equity in that system. So
Okay.
that's kind of where we are with the technological advancement. That said, batteries are still pretty rapidly improving. So that's one thing that those are getting better pretty quick, unlike the solar panels. So
Yeah, that was always the biggest hurdle at large scale solar energy systems, and like the windmills, or I keep calling them windmills, but the wind farms,
Right.
the battery bank, being able to store that energy just wasn't on a large scale feasible. But on a small scale, since Tesla basically, solved this issue with their own vehicles for
Yeah.
years, they were way ahead of the game on a small form, fit, function idea, which you already gave the specifics on that, which is pretty impressive. So you get even better than that at this point in time is pretty exciting.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, Dalton, anything else you want to pass along before we go?
man, I don't think so. You guys asked some really great questions. Yeah, we got a way deeper than most homeowners have probably even considered. So I
Right.
think I think we're probably good to leave it there. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Perfect.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, Dalton, hey, appreciate your time this
Yeah,
morning. It
thank
was
you.
very enlightening and some very good information.
Yeah.
So, again, we thank you guys over there at Solar Power, and let's do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's get on with it.
I know.
All right, you guys, you have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks,
Aaron,
Dalton.
Jody, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
All
Take
right,
care.
excellent. So that was a really good interview.
Oh my gosh.
That was,
Yes.
man, he learned a lot on that
Yeah,
one.
it was
So,
really good.
yeah, you can reach out to Dalton anytime.
Yeah.
You can get to him directly through us as well. So just call or text us or visit our website,
Right.
Team Tuttle Realty. You can get his direct information there as well. That way you can save some money, get a free quote, and see if
Yeah.
it's right for you. Like you said, they're not going to pressure you at all to buy the unit. And a matter of fact, he may tell you don't need it or it won't work for you. And
Right.
I love that kind of
Absolutely.
honesty.
Yeah.
Most people won't do that. They're going to sell it to you whether you need it or not, right? So I like the opposite approach to that.
Absolutely.
Anything else from your end?
No.
I know. This actually went a little longer than I thought. We tried to get these about 30 minutes, but there was so much good information.
Oh my gosh.
And we're just
I
like,
know.
we just keep on
And
going.
I just don't think there was enough information out there
Mm-hmm.
for people to make an informed decision. So I
Oh,
think
for
this
sure.
interview, we had to capture everything.
Yeah, because when we
As
went
much as
there,
we could.
a lot of these questions, we had thought of, and we're like, man, listen, I'm curious about this, and this. Because I'm sitting there
Yeah.
going, I came in with the idea of like poo-poo. And seriously, that's how I approached it. I was like, it's solar, it's fun,
Well-
it's a neat thing. Does it actually work, and does it last,
Right.
and all that stuff. So
And your big thing too is the hail.
yeah, yeah, and the weather.
And
So
the weather,
we
yeah.
one by one we knocked them all down. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'm a fan now.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it for our Team Total Saturday morning edition. We do these just about every Saturday, unless we have something else going on. Like, for example, I'll be at the mall in Tulsa in a couple weekends for a severe weather expo, so we won't
Right.
be able to do it live then. But other than that, we typically do a Saturday morning show about 9 o'clock again, and it's always going to be a topic that's interest and helpful for you to learn more about either buying or selling a home or just home ownership in general,
Right.
or something tied to that industry that's valuable that, when you walk away, you're like,
Wow, I
wow,
learned something."
I learned something. I didn't know that, and I feel more informed.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
never want to waste your time, because my time's valuable, her time's valuable, your time
Yeah.
is valuable. Ain't nobody got time to be wasting people's time. So we only pick on stuff that's actually going to be beneficial for everybody. So
Right.
there you go.
That's good.
All right, listen, if you need some help, call this lady right here. Jody will help you out. She'll get you steered in the right direction.
That's right.
If you're getting tired of, living where you are, maybe you're tired of paying rent, maybe your landlord, they're just a turd, and you're like, I get out of this place. And
Right.
you want to get your first home, first-time home buyers. She loves first-time home buyers.
Or if you're, yeah,
She'll steer you in the right direction. We'll get you squared away.
that's right.
And if if you're looking for a home, give us a call. And if you're selling a home, give us a call.
Absolutely. Full service.
That's right. Okay, guys. Well, listen, enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your weekend. It's been a pleasure, and
Yeah.
we'll see you on the next broadcast.
Thanks.